I thank the senator from Maryland and my colleagues for letting me talk for a few minutes about an issue that I think every single member of the Senate cares about. The month of November is National Adoption Month. It gives us an opportunity to recognize the recent celebration of National Adoption Day, which was November the 19th. As co-chair of the Congressional Coalition on Adoption, I've really had the opportunity to work with so many of our members and understand the broad bipartisan support for what we need to do to be looking and more dedicated to adoption and to child welfare issues. Last year, Senator Klobuchar and I came to this new role as the Senate's co-chairman of this caucus. I'm pleased to be working with her on a resolution that would support National Adoption Month and National Adoption Day again this year. We also have the good fortune to work with members of the House. The idea that every child deserves to grow up in a loving, safe family is something that I think we can all agree on. We have a lot of agreement while we've been working with members of the Congress on adoption issues over the last year. Just last week, Senator Klobuchar, Congressman Trent Franks, Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, along with me and others, finalized a comment letter to the U.S. Department of State expressing concern over new international adoption regulations. We have specifically highlighted the negative impact some of the department's proposed changes could have on the adoption process. You know, the adoption process seems to have gotten more complicated internationally lately, and we need to make it less complicated. We've worked, many members, including the members I just mentioned, have worked very hard on behalf of families who've just currently been trying to resolve pending adoption cases from a number of countries. Most recently, we've been trying to be sure that adoptions could be finalized out of the Democratic Republic of Congo, from Nepal, from Uganda, and Guatemala, and other countries as well. In June, Senator Klobuchar and I introduced the Vulnerable Children and Families Act, which would help bring more children living without families or in institutional care to find permanent homes by really enhancing our U.S. diplomatic efforts rather than making those efforts more difficult. We need to enhance what we do as a country. We need to enhance what we do through the State Department to where we are more focused on international child welfare and ensuring that inter-country adoption to the United States becomes a more viable and more fully developed option. I'm also continuing to support legislation to ensure American families have the resources and support they need so that adoption domestically works, specifically the Adoption Tax Credit Refundability Act and the Supportive Adoptive Families Act. Before I conclude, I want to make a few comments to really highlight three stories of foster children in Missouri who are currently waiting to get the family that they would hope to have forever. According to the Missouri Heart Gallery, more than 1,200 Missouri children are in need of permanent homes. One of those, Jason, age 15, is an expressive young guy who, in his own words, quote, likes to play soccer when it's not too hot. That ends his quote about soccer, but he also likes art and music. He feels like he can and is creative. He's looking for a supportive family to call that family his own family and who will also help him stay in contact with his brothers and sisters. Michelle, who's 9 years old, loves to dance and hopes to have her own pets in the future. However, you can tell her and she can tell you that she would really rather have a dog rather than a cat. But what she'd really like to find is a family where she could have sisters, a family who would allow her to stay in touch with her biological sister as well. Lastly, Terrence, age 13, and Terrion, age 10, are brothers with a special bond. When you first meet Terrence, he appears shy, but after getting to know him, He really has an incredible sense of humor. He enjoys listening to music and sports and playing outside. Terrian has a smile that just goes on and on. He's very active. He's been on a Little League baseball team, and he loves to bowl. The brothers are strongly committed to each other. They have a strong bond to each other. Beyond just the normal bond of brothers, they want to find a home where they can stay there forever and stay together. Last year, I shared the stories of these two siblings on the Senate floor, and they're still looking for a family to call their own. Like so many children across the United States, Jason, Michelle, Terrence, and Terrian are in need of a permanent, safe, loving home as a launching pad for their lives. I'm an adoptive parent. I'm always encouraged to see families giving children the most important gift one can give somebody else, and that's a family. I urge my colleagues to join Senator Klobuchar and I in marking November as National Adoption Month by passing this resolution.